It's back to school time, you've been in classes for a few weeks, and you're starting to realize, crap, I have a bad teacher. In this video, I'm going to cover some actionable tips for things that you can do if your teacher is actually bad. Because even though it sucks, it does happen sometimes. And I want you to have the tools you need to succeed in all your classes, even when the problem feels out of your hands. First, let's get a few things out of the way about bad teachers. Bad can mean a lot of different things to a lot of different people, and most teachers that I have encountered are doing their best and working because they're passionate about the job in less than ideal conditions. But there are special circumstances where teachers are actually bad, and I'm going to break it down into 5 different categories and offer solutions for each. Now in this video, I'm talking about teachers, mostly in the high school space, but a lot of these can apply to college as well. So here they are: hard teacher, a new or inexperienced teacher, a teacher who doesn't know the content, a teacher with a poor teaching or assessment style, or just a teacher with a bad reputation. And there's crossover between a few of these, and obviously there's some additional categories, like a teacher who is just incompetent or dangerous. For example, they don't show up to teach, or they don't grade anything, or they put students in danger, they don't follow lab safety or classroom safety protocols. In those cases, you want to talk to either another teacher or somebody in the administration as soon as possible. But in the other 5 categories, there are other things that you can do besides going to another adult and complaining. So, first category, you've got the hard teacher. Remember, hard does not equal bad. Getting the teacher who's known for being hard could actually work in your favor in the end. You may not like it, but they could push you further than somebody else who may not challenge you as much in the same class. Instead of thinking about getting the hard teacher as, oh, I got this teacher, my GPA is going to tank. Think about it as, oh, I got the hard teacher. Think about how much I can grow in this class. So, first off, talk to other students who have had this teacher before, figure out what works for that specific teacher, what strategies have worked in the past, and seek out study groups or people who can be there for peer support to help you in the class. It's also important to ask questions, get to know the teacher, seek clarification on things. So don't be afraid to ask questions in or outside of class, and remember, their hard reputation may be just because they have high expectations, and the better you know what those expectations are, the better you'll be able to succeed and learn in that class. There was a professor I had in grad school who was known for being very challenging, very rigorous, and some people flat out said that they were bad. But I actually found that I got the most critical feedback on any of my work throughout my entire graduate program in that class. I got to know the professor. They would sit with my group after class for long periods of time to try to work with us and make our work better. So if you show this hard professor that you're willing to put in the work and you're engaged in the content in their class, they'll be willing to work with you and help you grow. Next up, the new or inexperienced teacher. Now, remember that this individual is just figuring things out, and a lot of things may change throughout the year. New teachers are usually not afraid to try new things, but it also means that things may not be the same from one day to the next. Some new teachers may have poor classroom management, and the classroom may be a little bit more difficult to navigate as far as routines and procedures go. The first thing you can do is to be patient. Remember, everyone begins somewhere, but you can also offer feedback if you're comfortable. Tell the teacher what is working in the class, or offer suggestions of things that might work better in an appropriate format. For example, if you're confused about the homework they're offering, send them an email asking for clarifying details and maybe suggesting that they post these details to the class website or share with the class at the end of each day. In this case, it's also good to get to know the teacher. Offer to help stay after and clean class materials. They may feel overwhelmed with all the organization and regular maintenance of the classroom that they have to do, and the extra help could be appreciated. You also may want to go to people who have taken this particular class before, even if they haven't had the new teacher, and see what items were really important throughout the year. Look for old study guides, ask for advice, seek out tutoring opportunities, and that way you don't get behind while the new teacher figures out what's going on. And if you're really struggling, you can seek out help from more experienced teachers in the same department, asking them to help you with tutoring or additional content support as well. Getting to the next type of bad teacher is a teacher who doesn't know the content or doesn't teach the content. You may have some really incredible teachers that you have great relationships with, but you don't spend a lot of time on the actual content of the course. Then when the end of year test comes around, that's administered by the state or the college board, you feel like you don't have the knowledge that you need to be successful on those exams. This can be really frustrating for students, especially when that teacher is somebody that you like as a person. You just don't feel like you're getting enough from their teaching style. This is a situation where you want to identify it pretty quickly and try to gather some materials that can help you self-study. So whether that's additional YouTube videos that explain the content in the course, online resources like practice questions or other study guides, especially if there's a larger test at the end of the year that is standardized, meaning there's standards based content that you're going to be tested on, look up what those standards are and make sure that you know exactly what is going to be on the test and fill in the gaps that your teacher is not giving you in the course. Sometimes you may be surprised though. Some teachers are known for innovative teaching styles, and while it feels like you're not learning a lot, you come to the end of the year and you realize, oh, I actually have acquired knowledge just through a different way. So give teachers a chance. But if you truly feel like you're not acquiring the information that you need, make sure to research the topic yourself and don't be afraid to seek out additional resources. Now, on the flip side, there may be a teacher that knows their content very well, but their teaching style or assessment style is pretty bad. So for example, you could have somebody who has a PhD in molecular biology and they worked in a lab for 20 years and now they're changing careers and they're coming in to teach. Maybe this is a mix of the new teacher problem, or maybe they've been teaching for a long time and they're using an old-fashioned lecture style and they don't do any hands-on activities or labs in the class, and you feel like you're not getting enough information from what the teacher is doing. Or you do these things in class, you feel engaged, you appreciate how the teacher is running the course, and then the test comes up and it's really hard or challenging or tricky or difficult. I know students who have encountered all of these problems, and this is somewhere where you want to adjust your study style. You may not need to be acquiring more content and self-studying the way you would be with a teacher who doesn't really know the content, but you might want to use additional resources or work with the material in different ways than it's being presented in class. So for example, if you have a teacher that mainly lectures in class and you feel like you're not really absorbing the material, seek out practice questions. Or if you feel like you're just not understanding what's going on, look to the textbook for supplemental information before the lecture happens. So experiment with different study techniques and find what works for you to supplement what's going on in the course. Also, it's important here to communicate your concerns. Ask clarifying questions about what's going to be on the test. Talk to the teacher about what's important versus what's not. Tell them that you're struggling to follow along with their lectures. If you're speaking directly, you're communicating over email to this person, and you're doing it in a constructive, polite way, the teacher may be receptive to your feedback. And lastly, focus on this teacher's strengths. Ask them to talk about their deep knowledge in the topic. Ask them to share their research or their experiences with something that you think that they're interested in. By getting them to open up, you might see a different side of them and be able to connect with them. Then offer positive feedback. Say, I really liked it when you shared your stories about doing marine biology research. Can you do more of that in class? This is a great way to open teachers up to new teaching styles and a better way for you to connect with them. All right, my last category is the teacher has a bad reputation. You've heard from everybody else in the school that, oh man, you got the bad teacher, sorry. The most important thing is to give them a chance. Now, I know some schools have drop add periods where you are allowed to drop or switch out of classes depending on your schedule needs and the school policies, but it might be worth waiting to the end of this period before you immediately try to retreat out of the bad teacher or professors section. Don't judge the teacher based on what you hear about others. Maybe the teaching style didn't work for other students. Maybe they've improved. Maybe they've gone to a workshop over the summer and learned a new teaching style or technique. And remember, it's not based on what everybody else's experiences are. It's based on what your experiences are in the class and how you're going to learn the material. Like the story about the professor that a lot of people didn't like in my grad school. I learned a lot in that class and I really appreciated that professor's teaching style. It wasn't for everybody, but it worked for me. But if you truly feel like you're going to be unsuccessful once you get into the class and the teacher is living up to that bad reputation of not teaching or being too hard or being cruel or anything like that, it is important that you're learning in a safe and welcoming environment. So try to take advantage of drop add if you can. I have a whole other video about how to drop a class, so be sure to check that out if you're interested. Have you ever had a bad teacher before? What was the experience like for you? How did you solve the problem? Let me know in the comments below. Thanks so much for watching. Give this video a like if it's been helpful, and be sure to subscribe if you want more information on life science and life lessons from Lasseter's lab.